Kurt Swanson, Managing Artistic Director of SST Productions in Los Angeles. And as Artistic Managing Director, I wear several hats. One is picking the shows and governing the artistic quality of the productions that we do at SST Productions, but also doing the producing as well, which is all aspects of getting a show up from picking the show to managing the PR to the actors to paying the bills, the whole gamut. And it's interesting being that we do this with the United Kingdom and overseas, because that also means getting up really early in the morning to make phone calls to London and Edinburgh and money transfers. And so on that aspect, being almost a financial specialist and knowing what the exchange rate is every minute so that I know exactly when to transfer the money over to the United Kingdom when the exchange rate is good. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
It's heavy duty
I just
stuff.
did 3 today. And it's like I have to wait for the specific time, because when I'm going to do them, I wait for the stock market and for the currency trading to reach the best point of the day. And I stretch it out for when is the best time to do it, and I hope to hit it because it fluctuates so much.
Wow.
And the pound has like gone like this the past couple weeks because of the whole EU crisis with Greece and Spain. So it's not, for me, it's not just trying to get a show up and get the programs and all the mundane aspects of a show. It's tracking finances with European markets to know when the best time is to transfer the money. And I actually cut my teeth on that 20 something years ago at Theater X in Milwaukee when I was business manager. And whatever my title was there at the end, because we did productions in Stockholm, Sweden, and in Germany and that. And so I was constantly having to transfer funds and things like that. And in those days, you couldn't do it via computer. It was all you had to physically go down to the bank and talk to the banker to find out when was the time to transfer the money and such. So, and at Steppenwolf in Chicago, it was the same thing when the Grapes of Wrath was on the stage in London. I would have to get the ticket reports back from the Schubert Theater in London and deal with the money transfers and things like that. So that's where I really got my strong base for that, and made it easy for me to do it now. When I ran the SPCA in Palm Springs, I had my own segment on the morning news program. And every Friday morning I was the animal guy, and I would come on and do pet tips. So, and I had my own seat in the newsroom and everything. Oh, it's on camera as well.
Yeah.
And after looking at that and talking to other theater people and other artistic directors, I came back to there are a couple of aspects that make us different. One is there aren't a lot of theaters in town that are willing to take on one-person shows and original works of one-person shows. And part of that due to the ensemble aspect of, if you have an ensemble of 35 people all paying dues every month, they all want to be in a show for what they're doing. So if you've got a one-person show, that's only one person getting all the attention, taking up the slot in their season. And the other thing I looked at was not looking at specifically doing theater for LA, doing theater from LA. So taking productions from LA, and there's amazing work that's done here in the theater community, but it opens, runs for 6 weeks, and then closes, and then people move on. And what I was looking at was taking those to another level. And initially, because of the projects I was working on, it was the United Kingdom. And so spoke to the board of directors, and we all had to get on board because we were changing the makeup of the company from being a Los Angeles-based theater company to a international production company. And, excuse me, that made us different than other people, which we were sort of a hybrid to begin with because we're not an ensemble. We're a group of people that like doing theater and like doing art, and not a group of people that all pay dues and get together every month. Because people come and go out based on the production and the project they work in. But the beautiful thing that we've had is that everybody has stayed. they consider themselves part of the family, and they'll be there if we need them or if there's a production, but yet they don't have to do anything. Um, so our first project was taking a show that we had seen at the Fringe, which was a one-woman show from an actress that lives in London, and brought that over here,
Yeah.
and ran that last October. And that was the first part of our linkage with the United Kingdom, and also a linkage with the Fringe Festival and the performance venues there. And so now we're working on solidifying that whole UK Los Angeles transfer. Because on the flip side, what we saw is there were actors in the United Kingdom that wanted to perform in Los Angeles to perhaps get picked up by a whatever. And so we were working at giving them a venue where they could come here and perform their show, and also we could take our show over there and perform. So that's what we're working on. And like I said, instead of looking at performing theater for LA, we're looking at performing theater from LA.
Right.
And our board is really behind us on that concept and really think it's important, and are willing to branch out even into things like dance and dance companies, and bringing some dance companies here to the LA audience for them to see, but also taking some dancers and such from here and getting them to a different venue, so more of a producing entity. I performed and competed in piano as a child, and that was my art space. And when I was going away to university, I was trying to think of what I wanted to do with my life, and I knew that I didn't have the professional musician personality. I couldn't be a shark, and you have to be a shark to make it in the professional music world. So I sat back and went, what do I enjoy doing and what am I good at? And I grew up the son of a minister and spent every Saturday of my childhood folding church bulletins. And so I sat down and I looked at what I wanted to do, and at the time there were only a couple schools in the country that did arts management. One was New York University. So I sort of created my own hybrid degree, which was arts and business. And from that it led to my being picked up to work at Theater X in Milwaukee, which was the longest running experimental theater company in the United States. And went from there to arts management, became what my life and love was, and did branch off into other nonprofits for several years, but still always had that theater base and also that theater and arts love and base. So it was just natural for me to come back to it. My most memorable theater experience was seeing David McCullum in Camelot. I don't know if you know David McCullum, but he's Sir David McCullum, I believe, now. And seeing him do Camelot was just, I was maybe 12, and I just went, wow, this is what it's all about. And it was just a production that, watching this man work, really hit me going, this is amazing, that somebody can do this, and this kid can be sitting in the theater and just be frozen to watching this person perform. My most memorable production, that's a hard one. One was working on Night Mother, actually, in Milwaukee in 1985, because it was a newer theater company and all the people that were involved were all young 20-somethings, but doing this incredibly difficult piece of theater about suicide and the character planning her suicide. It was looking around the people that were working on this and going, here are these young kids that have blue hair and are going out dancing to punk music at night, working on this really difficult piece of work. And that was memorable. Another memorable production actually is resurrecting a show here called My Werewolf that was written and done at Theater X in Milwaukee when I first worked there. So 20 years later, doing the show for me in LA just meant a lot personally, because it was a nice journey for me and a bookend for the journey.